Hello everyone, this is Tomek from the Coin Dictionary, and in this episode we'll be continuing my series on the Polish communist coinage. In this time I'll be taking a look at this coin commemorating Bolesław III Krzywousty. This is another coin in the series of the rulers of Poland. Last time I've made a video on one, I'm going chronologically. We talked about his father, Bolesław I Herman. As per usual, I'll be mentioning the mintage of this coin, its value, its data, and so on, but also, of course, the historical context behind this figure. Before we get into that, let's go over the specifications of this coin. It is composed out of copper nickel, it weighs 11.7 grams, its diameter is 30.3 millimeters, its thickness is 2.1, the edge is reeded, and it is basically exactly the same size as a US half dollar. On the obverse of the coin, which is considered to be the back side over here, actually, there is the Polish coat of arms in the middle with the crown on the eagle missing, the date spread out, the mint mark right here, date 50 Zł, short for Złotych, below, and the name of the country at the time, Polska Rzeczpospolita Ludowa or People's Republic of Poland. On the reverse, there's the depiction of the monarch in question, Bolesław III Krzywousty, and the dates of his beginning and end of rule, 1102 to 1138. The mintage for this coin is 2,616,000, and it is easily accessible for a few dollars. So now let's get into the history. Bolesław Krzywousty was one of the most important and influential rulers of Poland, and the consequences of his testament lasted for the next 200 years and made an irreversible mark on the country. His nickname, Krzywousty, means literally crooked mouth, and there are many debates whether or not he really had a, well, crooked mouth, like a crooked jaw or something like that, or whether it was metaphorical, but it did stick anyway. And it is honestly one of my favorite nicknames for a monarch, Krzywousty. It just sounds great, in my opinion. When he took throne, the country was divided in two by his father, Bolesław Herman, which I mentioned in the previous episode in this series on the Polish monarchs. He occupied the southern territories with his brother Zbigniew, controlling the north. Bolesław Krzywousty decided to reunify the country and actually succeeded. He defeated his brother, blinded him, and he eventually died, which resulted in an outrage for some of the populace. However, Bolesław showed his remorse, and he was eventually forgiven, even by the church. His rule was largely reunifying the country and connecting the older territories back to it. Which is somewhat ironic because of his testament and what happened after his death. In his testament, he decided to split the country again between all of his sons, and thus began the era which is in Polish called rozbicie dzielnicowe, and I don't really know whether it has a direct translation to English. It is essentially a splitting of the country between smaller areas, each ruled by a duke. This period was rather chaotic, as you may have imagined, since all of the minor territories fought each other and reunified in many strange ways. This stayed until 1320, when the country was again reunified under the king Władysław Łokietek. This is a very interesting and extremely complicated period of Polish history, and essentially it changed the course of the country. If you are interested in medieval history, I highly recommend checking out this topic, as it is really interesting and I have absolutely no way to cover it in its entirety here. So to summarize, Bolesław Krzywousty, meaning crooked mouth, who reunified the country and then split it between his sons. How more crazy can you get? Yeah. Next time we'll see a Polish king on the throne will be, as I said, in 1320, and he obviously is commemorated on another coin. However, it has a face value of 100 złotych, and we'll be covering when we get into that denomination. so it will be a while. So I hope you've learned some history, that this video was interesting, and see you in the next one, when we'll be talking about another Polish monarch, this time not a descendant of Bolesław Krzywousty, as would be the norm in this series, but rather Jan III Sobieski. And there is a reason for it. So, thanks for watching, and see you in the next episode.
Thanks for watching the video. My name's Christian, and I own The Coin Dictionary, and I'd also encourage you to visit us at our website, thecoindictionary.com, and on Instagram at thecoindictionary. And I'd also like to draw your attention to some other helpful coin resources, such as my other YouTube channel, Treasure Town, which does more in-depth videos about coins and collectibles, as well as some resources like coinmeltprice.com, which shows up-to-date precious metals pricing, as well as the melt values of the coins that you own, coinsmetalscards.com, which will both be a marketplace and a news source for coins, metals, and cards, as the name suggests, as well as whatsthegrade.com, which will develop into a stickering service for already graded collectibles. Have a great day, and I hope to see you on some of our other videos.